West Ham are massive. I don't know why, but I was kind of into that final. Like, it wasn't even the most entertaining. Just before we start, by the way, sorry about the terrible eye. I've got really bad hay fever, but West Ham are massive. They've won something in Europe. David Moyes has won something in Europe. Declan Rice has won something in Europe. Jared Bowen has won something in Europe. It's pretty insane, really, when you think about it, that this West Ham team that finished 14th won and drew less games than they lost in the Premier League, and at times were in kind of a relegation conversation, went all the way to the final of the Europa Conference League, which, by the way, was probably created for moments like this, and then created an exact moment like this. This is why you watch football. Can we really differentiate all that much when you get to a final between the Europa League and the Europa Conference League? Can you really differentiate between, any final at any point apart from maybe the Champions League, the World Cup, or the Euros or whatever? Those kind of levels, sure, we can tell the difference. But here, in front of a small set of 5,000 West Ham fans, 5,000 fans who will make history in East London and probably make a lot of children in Prague, these are the kind of reasons that people watch football, at least in the modern day, right? I know in the modern day we can hold up so many of the top clubs and go, this is elite levels of football. These two clubs are historic cornerstones of both of the countries that they are in. Fiorentina are a massive part of most people's growing up in the 90s. They know that iconic kit. They know a couple of the players from the history and also from the present as well. There was real class in that side. And that's partly why people were so surprised about West Ham this season. David Moyes seemed to be on a trajectory, which I'll talk about more in a second, but was to take this side higher and higher and higher. My prediction was that they would finish just a little higher than they did last season, and ultimately they did underperform in the league. But with motivations such as possibility of Declan Rice leaving at the end of the season, a couple of guys getting towards the end of their career anyway and towards the end of the road, West Ham in kind of the right kind of competition for them as a team, and we're looking at an iconic, historic team. And to an extent, this is a nice little validation of what the Gold family did for West Ham. I know there are some big losses this year. I know they lost two really important people to them. And so finals in years like this, I guess they are fitting tributes to those people. I guess they are not the biggest thing that happened to that family this year. And this probably pales in comparison to what they've been through. But at the same time, I think it's a reminder that life is very short in these kind of situations. Seeing your team win something, seeing your team win anything, having the feeling of actually winning something, be it the Europa Conference League, be it, a promotion, whatever it is. We've had some incredible finals or, playoffs this year, is important to people. And it's important to validate. And, as much as we talk about business and all those kind of things, it's not just about business. We're in the business of entertainment to an extent, as some people are saying. And boy, is that entertaining. But boy, are you making a memory for so many people here as you watch Declan Rice kiss the trophy, lead it over to the lads, and then, it's nice to watch. Yeah, there you go. He kind of did a little Hendo shuffle there. Great moment. Beautiful memory for West Ham fans. And frankly, for English football this evening, Jared Bowen goes down as a guy who's climbed the leagues from Hereford, was let go by a number of different sides, as we've heard 100 different times. And it's just nice to see something good going on in English football that isn't just about politics or whatever, all that stuff. Even though those were very political figures that own the club, there's sometimes got to be a moment. By the way, the inside of that trophy is lovely. Sometimes there's got to be a moment where you sort of go, give them tonight, let them appreciate it. It's not that you have to win the very pinnacle of football. This is the very pinnacle of this level of football. And it's probably why UEFA created this kind of competition. On top of that, of course, West Ham fans get an incredible away day, beating and having a legit final against a legit side, and possibly give Man City a blueprint. I mean, Inter Milan will not dominate that final, but possibly give Man City a blueprint as to how to beat an Italian side. A lot of people underestimating Italian sides this season. A lot of people probably talking down about them way too much. It's just insane when you look at it. And when you watch the West Ham players celebrating on the pitch, emotional, big moments for players like Cresswell, there are huge memories to be made tonight. There were the kid that Declan Rice put up on his shoulders. There's a possibility that that was Declan Rice's last ever game for West Ham. Like, that is insane. And then you got people like Kurt Zouma, Mikel Antonio. There are people who I think in the past would have possibly just gone down as, oh, they were good in the Premier League, or, oh, they were not a bad level. But now, this is European silverware. There is more European silverware in the east of London than some other parts of London. I'm just saying. Does East beat North at this point? Not for that reason, but yeah. By the way, who have West Ham had a better season than? I love doing these kind of stupid little thought exercises. Have West Ham had a better season than someone else who got into the Europa League, like Liverpool now? This is a better season than Liverpool have had. It might not be a better summer transfer window. They might not be able to attract bigger players. They might not be in discussion for some of the biggest names in the game. But they're now in the Europa League. They finished well outside the Europa League places. They finished on something like 38 points, like just, a couple of points ahead of their rivals. They only just finished realistically above the relegation zone. But this is incredible. And on top of that as well, like the goals and the quality that West Ham showed this evening were another kind of cherry on top of it, right? Let's talk about the first goal. First of all, it was definitely a penalty for West Ham. I mean, like 100% a penalty. The guy literally moves his hand towards the ball, kind of punches it out the way of, well, I mean, both players in the end, but, gets it out the way of the attacker. And ultimately, it was also an incredible penalty. What, cojones to step up and score a penalty like that in a final. I think he struck the ball really cleanly, beautifully. And suddenly it felt like West Ham were on a roll. But then Fiorentina began to come back. Fiorentina, who have dominated possession all game because they're a domination of possession kind of side, and West Ham know that. On top of that, they're also the kind of side you could probably break on because they are getting that kind of possession. And let's not say it's a David Moyes masterclass, but it's observational tactics at its very best. The break from the likes of Bowen, the breaks from all the fast players in the West Ham team, but particularly from Bowen and Paquetá, getting that turn, ball through, and you're just setting your fastest player through. And it's not the cleanest of finishes, but it's still a finish over the outstretched legs of the goalkeeper. And Bowen puts himself down in West Ham history. This is what I'm talking about in terms of, you don't have to be the dominant side in the Champions League. Possibly they've actually laid out a blueprint for the way that Inter Milan are going to try and beat Man City. Not really sure whether you can really make a like-for-like quality comparison between the two sides, but you can definitely see what I'm saying here. At the same time, we probably massively underestimate Serie A right now, the quality of the football, the quality of the opposition. At the very top, it is really congested, and there are some good sides in there that can't afford to spend 50 million on one player. They have 50 million spend like AC Milan did. AC Milan won a title last year and then went on and spent less than some Premier League sides. So doubling down like that is also kind of crazy. On top of that as well, I think on the TV right now, is that Kevin Nolan? I'm pretty sure that's Kevin Nolan. Pretty sure? Might be. He looks good. He's clearly part of that backroom staff. And let's talk about that backroom staff with David Moyes. They've, again, stumbled over the line, but David Moyes has done something special. Sir Alex Ferguson saw something in him. I'm sure Everton fans saw something in him. I'm sure all the fans who have had David Moyes down the years at some point have seen something and gone, yeah, you know what, actually, having David Moyes here is kind of a blessing. Watching him dance at the end, watching him get that the elation, the moment of I've won something, the moment of being important in a club's history, the possibility of being a turning point when it felt like David Moyes was going to get sacked earlier this season when West Ham really were floundering. Look at where they are now. That's what I'm saying is maybe David Moyes goes anyway, but maybe that is the best way to sign off. Maybe Rice goes anyway and they make a Rice box in the midfield at Arsenal. But there is something here to be said for people in football who are seen as underachievers, written off, forgotten in the annals of time because, hey, the big boys are the ones that matter. The big boys are the ones that make the history. And as much as West Ham are probably going to be portrayed as big boys in Serie A, and the big story in Italy tomorrow is going to be, well, first of all, Napoli are the only team to really do something special this season. But secondly, the story is going to be the money in the Premier League is a problem, all these kind of things. Just look at it. I think in England we realise, like, the history that this is, what David Moyes has done is something special. What this side has done is something special. He hasn't maximised it, but he's won something and he's left an incredible memory for this team. West Ham, I think, will go on to climb up the table next season. I think they had a particularly weirdly underachieving season this season, but doesn't necessarily damn them next season. David Moyes has this kind of issue of sometimes inertia being a bit of an issue with him. He doesn't quite keep the momentum that he needs. Sometimes he didn't quite convince some of the players that he needs to stick around. And frankly, he probably overextended some of the players that did need to stick around in order to stick around. Rice possibly stuck around a little bit too long. Ben Rama's a real quality player. That midfield with Souček in it, that midfield that is of real quality, was possibly let down by not being able to build on a back line of real quality. That is a quality attacking lineup, by the way. The last time I think West Ham probably felt this way, I mean, it wasn't the World Cup in '66, but it was when they really felt like they had some hope. Tonight, like, all of this and all of this and all of this, it's great. But this actually feels like something that they can kick on from. This actually feels like something that is validation of a project, and the ideas of this, East London club. Oh, it's nice. I love to see Jared Bowen and Nolan and Noble and all these guys. Everyone's going around and just enjoying themselves on the field. I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to go on the field because that'd be weird. But I am going to go and enjoy the celebrations with West Ham tonight. So West Ham, David Moyes, here is a whiskey to you. Congratulations. You won something this season. You probably matched a lot of sides that have ground this out. And frankly, you've survived the gauntlet of the Europa Conference League. What you did to get here was special. You've beaten some quality sides, and very often those quality sides are underestimated just purely because people only look at the very top. This is real validation for the Europa Conference League. Probably something that I maligned when it first came around because it felt like a bit of a money grab. Still possibly is. But tonight, we have to overlook that because winning it is just worth it. It is validation that this kind of, like, even though the corporates might be wrong most of the time, even though the corporates are like trying to create extra ways and revenues and ways of the money flowing, I like it. It feels good to watch. It's that simple. It's nice to see Cole on the touchline. It's nice to see any of the Coles on the touchline. It's nice to see people getting in the mix. It's nice to see all my Hammers friends, by the way, very happy. I'm very happy to see Bez happy. I'm happy to see Rob Armstrong happy. I'm happy to see Spenny happy. Go congratulate your nearest West Ham fan. If you can't find them, look them up in the phone book. They're always there. Jokes, add the joke on. See you guys in a little while. I'll see you tomorrow, chatting many more transfers for the summer. Does this raise what West Ham can achieve over the summer with the possibility of having Europa League football? Because that was part of it, right? With the whole, we finished 14th, players probably looking at that and going, are they really that? Now they've got Europa League football. Now they can invest. Now they can bring in some more quality, get someone in to replace Rice, get someone in to replace whoever else is on the way. Does this kind of change the trajectory of West Ham in the long run? I think so, if they invest properly. Not that I think they will, not that I think they won't, but you get what I'm saying. Wow, that is a really nice trophy. It's a great trophy, isn't it? I've lifted the real Europa League trophy, but this Europa Conference League trophy actually looks really nice. Anyway, I will chat to you guys as well. Much love. See you later. Bye.